Techno. Hollywood.
Techno Hollywood, 7.
No, 18. Yeah, see, we said it in sync.
18.
What? I'm back.
He's back in the garage.
Yeah, we should actually film some. I was just gonna film some footage.
Some BTS?
Yeah, some BTS, just to post it. We'll do it after let's not forget after the pod.
We'll do it once I clean the garage.
Exactly, yeah.
It's good to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to see you. It's been a couple months for sure.
I was saying
March, yeah.
What happened was it was strange to see you walk into this room because I see you only in this room, but it doesn't feel like you're in Berlin. It just feels like you're coming over from down the street.
Yeah, I guess because, we talk on the weekly, and it's it feels like I just said, like it's our fun little get together in our podcast. So that's why it's like I feel like we normally we know each other's lives pretty well right now, and then it's pretty. You're up to date of what's going on. I'm up to date what's going on with you.
Some would say too well.
Too well, exactly. No, it's all good.
Yeah. No, but it's good. You're in LA. You have a show at the Avalon. Tell us about it.
So yeah, first let's start. It was still last time we spoke. We did the part from New York, right?
Yeah.
And then some more stuff happened in New York. I think we didn't play the show yet, did we?
No, it was on fire. New York was orange sky.
Exactly. Yeah,
it was the apocalypse.
It was the apocalypse, and then we basically, thank God, it all cleared up on the Friday.
Yeah.
And there's also, in parallel, there was the Governor's Ball, a big festival, obviously, in New York. I think it's the only New York festival really left, because as I realized, New York doesn't have, because of the room, I guess, or restrictions, New York doesn't have a lot of music festivals, like big ones. Like I feel like on the West Coast or in LA, there's a bunch of festivals.
Yeah.
But in New York, it just has, I think the Governor's Ball has the main commercial sort of festival. And it's kind of cool programs anyway. So it cleared up. Friday, it started again. And for Saturday, the City Fox experience was mind-blowing. We went there for around 6 p.m. already.
Whoa.
Because we had to do sound check. And turns out it's actually I think it's a German or Austrian Swiss guy that started it all. Like he started in Switzerland. He's had these parties here called City Fox. And then he sort of wanted to, we just bumped into him quickly and he gave us a quick story. Mm-hmm. He went to the States, to New York, and then he was looking for some pop-up parties. That's how you start as a promoter. You do a little pop-up and you see, okay, there's a crowd there. People love it. And then they started to get bigger and bigger. And now the thing is, like Brooklyn Mirage, it's like you go there, and I've never seen a place. It's an open air like this. It feels a little bit like an amphitheater, like in Roman times, because it has some different floors on the side, in the back.
Yeah, and the gladiators are going to fight.
Exactly. It feels like a gladiator.
Some blood on the floor.
And then and then they have a screen which is out of this world. I don't know if you saw the picture. I didn't. We'll post the picture. It's basically the biggest LED screen curve that goes around the whole stage that I've ever seen. It's huge. It's humongous. It's and that's why they can control the weather with it. I feel like they put up the light systems with the LED, and it looks like you're tripping in a different world. It's almost like the DJ or the artist performing. It's such a small part, you can barely see the person. That's how big the screens are. It's crazy.
Are we just going from screens at home to screens in public, though?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought, because everyone talks about the screen. Obviously, it should still be about the music and the performance, everything. But people are, thank God, they're still dancing. They're looking at the artist in the screen, and sometimes they also project the artist on the screen. So it's not only just But I feel like the guys that, you saw the audio engineer, the front of house, they had one little booth on the side, controlling, because it's a DJ, it's left, right signal, really, that he has to control, right?
Yeah.
Nothing. And then you saw the panel of 10 guys sitting there controlling the whole screen, the lights, the visuals.
It's not even about mixing audio. It's about running the visuals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the visuals had much a higher level. They were in the middle controlling everything. The sound guy was off to the side type of thing. So that was interesting. So the performance went really well. And then because we were it was a sunset, there was a Governor's Ball. We were afraid a little bit to see if people are going to show up early.
Yeah.
Because all the headliners were scheduled for 2 a.m., 3 a.m. The party went till 6 a.m. We're talking.
Whoa.
And that's unheard of because for New York, I guess
It's
they have
illegal.
some. No, I think they have. It's all legal, and they have different rules there because it's an industrial zone. I think there's different zoning laws, whatever. So they can stay open till 6. And from what I believe, they also served alcohol that long.
What if the German consulate was like, yeah, we will rave and just have a zoning nightclub? It's German land, right?
Yeah, no, it's
In
all
the
the guy
US?
is Austrian. The guy's Austrian, but from Austin, Swiss. He's not
No, but
German.
get a German consulate
I
to
guess, yeah.
sign on to promote German techno in the States.
That would make sense.
By having a club that
Yeah.
can have no rules.
That's good. I mean, that's actually good because the consulate is like different territory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. But then you would have to have a real like cutting edge consulate.
This would be a good movie. Like you go to the consulate and they're all stiff, but then they start dancing.
And then they go throw proper raves, techno raves.
Yeah, we can incorporate stuff that actually, like Elon Musk tries to get in again and he can't get in.
But City Fox, a shout out to them again and thank you for having us.
Yep.
It was a great experience and the best experience was actually, so they had like different stages. Like there's the main stage and there's some indoor stages. So I think for the winter and stuff in New York, as we know, there's no open air possible. So people I think it's all inside. But then they had like a third stage. We saw it on the lineup. It said like Artist Village. And we're like, what's that? And then we realized, okay, then they brought us to our green rooms, backs, and then they had like trailers on top of each other. And they had like bouncers there and there was like cut off. And then it was like, what's going on here? And it was basically a party in the Artist Village. So you had like 10 trailers for all the different artists. We had one and where our riders were and stuff, and we're hanging out there eating and drinking. And then they had a DJ in the village which had like basically 100 people backstage, and then people sort of that knew it was open to everyone, so people could go there. And then some DJs that played on the main stage later on played on the Artist Village stage. Whoa. Just for fun. So imagine like you're in your trailer, you have a little drink, you have friends there, and you look down and there's a party going on in the courtyard of the Artist Village, which was a really cool concept because it was like a club in a club, you know, and there was a vibe there and all the DJs could play whatever they wanted. It was a really cool experience.
Good experience.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then the next day I was like, okay, as if I didn't have enough of a night and party. A friend was, okay, I got you some tickets to the Governor's Ball. Let's go.
What?
And I'm like, okay.
Isn't that like a fancy like?
No. That's the festival. That's
okay.
So basically the headliners were like Lizzo and on the Sunday the headliner was Kendrick Lamar, and I'm like, okay, gotta go see Kendrick.
Good.
And it was good. It was great. But I've seen him before. I think his own show is better because it's like he has his own stage design, all the cool stuff. Like this was like a festival stage, so it was cool.
One by one.
And he didn't have a real band. I feel with him like it was. But his energy is great, of course.
Yeah.
But we got to see. So I went with a friend of mine, this other cool music manager that I know. He got us the ticket. And then he also got us, thank God, like some artist passes, so we could hang out in the Artist Village, free drinks. We bumped into this lawyer, you know, this guy too, Elliot. Of course, he was there. Elliot Resnick.
Resnick,
he was there. Like, then some other label people, then some other managers, and so it was a good mingling.
Have you stayed in touch with them?
Yeah.
So you're like, hey,
yeah. But he was kind of surprised. But I think it was like, I don't know. We came in and out, but he was busy on the Governor's Ball, so we didn't invite him to the City Fox thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But also from on the business side, I didn't know this too. Like lawyers, it works different a little bit in the States. Like just to go straight to the business thing, but basically, like if you have in general a lawyer, they take like a fixed percentage of your business, almost like a manager. They take like a general like a 5% cut, which is apparently normal, meaning like all income, all business, they take a 5% cut, but then they also offer their whole services, of course. So all the deals, all the things you have to deal with, or if you're getting sued or whatever, like, and then they deal with this, or their staff, and then also they try to bring in new business, of course.
Yeah. So
it's almost like an additional manager / lawyer.
Usually that's like if you're on the come up and you don't want to pay a lawyer, but they believe in you.
Yeah.
I from my experience, it doesn't cover things like lawsuits, but because that's like you need different counsel.
Yeah, okay.
But it is like it's a good way to ramp up your team quickly without having the overhead of like, here's a $30,000 legal bill. that
Yeah,
you
I
weren't
guess, yeah.
expecting for hourlies. And especially if you're like, you're doing a lot of business at once. Like
Yeah.
you're not only doing contracts for incoming money, but you're like, I'm also setting up a production company. I'm doing
Yeah.
all the, and you need paperwork for all that stuff. It's a good way to leverage.
I
But
guess,
then you
yeah.
get to a certain level, you're like, I'm just going to pay the fee.
I know, yeah, exactly. But like, I think everyone that's on a higher level is rather pays the
Oh,
fee.
yeah.
Unless the lawyer is like some super short lawyer, man, which I'm sure there are in the States, obviously, that can generate, like, can really make it worthwhile the 5%, I guess.
Yeah.
But I feel like, thank God we're not getting sued, knock on wood, and we also don't need a lot of action right now for
Right.
that requires a lot of work. That's why I think like it's at this point it's not interesting for us, but.
But if you're doing like production contracts, I'd rather pay 3% on like a 20 grand producer fee than have to pay like $3,000 a contract.
I guess so. It's a math game at some point, like. But then if you do a lot of, then you have to have a certain volume of stuff, like to actual business volume to make it all worthwhile. Food. I didn't know all this, so but it was
I guess
something new
like
to me,
I don't know that it's. I'm sure it does happen, but in the terms of what I've seen, I've never seen the people at the highest level, the ones I've worked with, still retain the percentage one.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see, but it was just like very uncommon to me because in Europe or Germany, you just find a good lawyer, and some are more expensive or some are less expensive.
Yeah.
Some tape maybe 1 or 2% of a bigger deal if they actually organize the deal also and leverage and bring it into the mix. But you would pay normally by the hour or by a deal, but you wouldn't.
I remember
it wouldn't be on a full like a management fee. No?
I remember like one of my first production contracts was like, I think it was like 4 or 5 grand, something like that. And then, the lawyer's like, I'll do the production contract. And it was like 4 or 5 grand. And I'm like, I can't do that. So like for those situations, I'm like, let's go, percent it up.
Okay. I get it. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Like anyway, so bumped into Elliot and went to the governor's ball. And then we saw Sophie Tucker, which was an interesting concept because they mix all kinds of styles together, which is, I feel like very... it works really well in states where you have a house beat, a techno beat, like a hip hop trap beat, then a drum and bass beat, all within like 20 minutes. And I feel like maybe in Europe people would be like, but I think it's just the older, like the kids, the newer generation love that stuff because it's like it's more dynamic, it's more happening. So that was a good show. Then we went. It's funny, like we went to see this girl from Norway, the big hype, like called Girl in Red, right? I mean, there was a big. I think it was her, Billie Eilish, and some other. Everyone was hyped about, and she's the real deal, like this like pop rock type of artist.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, what I didn't realize also, like there's like some of the stages they have like the first rows, like the first whatever 10, 50 meters are all VIP, right? And then there's like a barrier, and then it's like general admission, like for the fans. Meaning that sometimes if you're like a newcomer artist and you play and there's no like VIP people there already, there's a huge distance between you and your audience, you know? And then this girl was complaining about that. He's like, how come I can't reach you, I can't feel you? I mean, there was just a few normal fans and then the rest was VIP, but it was empty.
Whoa.
So it's not a good feel. But then I can understand from the artist side, obviously. But then a manager said something really interesting, I thought. Like, it's like, yeah, of course, it's not perfect with it, but then also that's why the states and all these circuits can pay higher fees to the artists.
Yeah.
Because you can't have both, you know, like if you want to get a higher fee and have people there, because in the States it's more common that people save up their money, they're more willing to spend lots of money.
Item,
yeah, exactly. It's more money on the VIP experience, you know, which is arguably better because you have a drink stand, you have your own toilets, you have you can just walk up to the stage and so I was like, it's
that's
like
how
a
they
give
should
and
list
take.
it. Your own toilet, like make it very clear.
Yeah, so I mean. So of course the artist was complaining, but I'm sure she's not complaining about the higher fee she gets.
Of course, yeah.
So it's always a give and take. I feel like it should be like still like a percentage of real fans should be in front of the artist, because especially if in the beginning, like you want to play to your people, you know, and not every young artist or fan can afford a VIP ticket, you know. Right. So I think it should be a mix, but I feel it was a mix. And for Kendrick's concert, I mean, of course, VIP, everyone just flooded to the stage, and it was quite a big show. But everyone was just excited to see it. But then we saw like half the show. But then my buddy Björn and me, we were like, because he was there the day before, he's like, we need to leave now because he's the last artist. it took already half an hour. It's somewhere in Queens, Flushing Meadows, where like the Uber drops you somewhere and you have to walk through a park, by a zoo. Like it took like 20 minutes to get to the actual entrance of the festival. Inside the festival, you have to walk. I think I walked 28,000 steps this day.
Whoa.
And then he's like, if we don't leave now, we're gonna get stuck. He was stuck last time for like 2.5 hours trying to get away from the festival. You know, it's like because there's the
Queens
trains.
is huge.
Yeah, Queens is huge, and then also like you can't. There's no cars that come up. Then you have to take the public, and then it's like you don't want to get stuffed in and die on a train type of thing. So he was almost panicking. I was like, okay, let's leave early just to be safe. And then it took us also another half hour, 45 minutes to get back to any sort of real street or surrounding the park.
Wow.
And thank God we found a Uber quickly, and then we headed back into Manhattan.
Do you know that Uber charges you more if your battery's low?
You're kidding, no?
No, this is like an expose in the paper.
How do they know?
What?
What do you mean if your battery is low?
If your battery's low, they charge you more. It was like this big scandal in the paper.
How do they? So the app knows that your battery is low, and then you're more desperate to get out, and you can't. You have like one take to sort of get out. You're kidding?
Yeah.
I can't. This is like genius programming.
It's
like
evil genius.
Yeah, it doesn't get more capitalist than this.
It was a study they did in Sweden about all the Ubers.
I can almost not believe it, but
it's pretty diabolical. If it's true, it's pretty diabolical.
Yeah, it's very diabolical. And so anyway, so we went to the governor's ball. There was a fantastic experience, and then we headed out to LA. And then we came to LA here, and then it's like it's Gloom June or whatever
June Gloom.
June Gloom, which is apparently a real thing because it's not really sunny here for all the listeners.
It's cloudy. It's Vancouver weather.
It's Vancouver. It's not raining,
I love it.
thank God.
It's beautiful.
It's mild. Yeah. It's not too hot, I guess. But I mean, let's not talk about weather. I'm not complaining. It's still nice to be back here in LA.
Yeah.
And which I never thought, like, because now I'm checking air quality index.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like a thing now. Because
you have the AQI app.
I don't have the actual app, but in the weather thing it says.
Yeah.
And I was always comparing, like in New York, at the one day it was like hazardous at 450 or something, right? It was like literally dangerous to be out. And then here in LA it's like 35, 40. Now it's better air in LA than in New York still right now.
Still?
Yeah, because New York still has some dust and some smoke and stuff. It's just clearing up, so it's not hazardous.
It's hazardous, but it's still bad.
Yeah, it's still kind of bad. Like it was still worse than LA, which is normally LA has.
Well, we usually get wildfires, and then I don't know why I said it like wildfires, but we get wildfires, and then the air quality can be really bad.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to like put tape over the doors, and like it gets like you can't breathe.
You also have to lock yourself inside. Yeah, it was my first Canadian wildfire.
Thanks, Canada.
Thanks, Canada. You saw it. I sent you the picture, right? With the guy with the sign.
You can put anything on that guy with the sign.
Yeah, no,
it's the genius because anything works.
Anything was, but it's always very zeitgeist. It's very it's a clever thing. Obviously, like it's always like, and I follow him religiously on Instagram. It's a clever.
Maybe he'll do Techno Hollywood.
And I mean, I think he gets paid a lot now because he does all these paid stuff too. Like you feel like this is sponsored by someone, but he makes it feel like natural.
Okay.
Right? And I think he's probably an advertising guy.
He says one McRib. I don't know if this is natural.
No, so but
we know the sandwiches.
I'm sure he's like an advertising dude. Must be.
I mean, if he's not, he is.
Yeah, he is.
He is a sign.
He's a sign.
Are you dinging?
Yeah, I don't know when. I should have left it luring us off.
You're just creating more editing work for me.
Sorry.
I have to duck all the dings.
Yeah, so and so back in LA, it feels good. There's a show on Saturday. I came out here. I'm driving a car right now from a friend of mine. Shout out to Guang. And it's a manual stick shift old Porsche,
which I'm about to drive.
Yeah, which is crazy because it's so much work to drive.
This is your hometown, Stuttgart.
I know, yeah, but it's like it's an older model, so like there's also not a lot of power in the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Like you literally have to work to drive the car, and
it's good for your
clutch,
muscles.
it's good for, and then it's like the stick shift. Like I'm so not used to it anymore myself, but it's good. It's like you really control the car. Like it feels like you're on the street, and it's like a go-kart. It's crazy.
A manual transmission is real control of the car.
Exactly,
like it's just having that. It's like
just to play with the clutch, and
you just really have control in a way you don't with an auto.
Yeah. So
especially like a electric, it's just like that's a go-kart. You're just like,
but it's also like just if you're on a hill and if you're
That's
stuck
painful.
in traffic, it's so painful.
It's like,
So anyways,
he's gonna need a new clutch.
so how have you been? Like it's all like
It's been good. Last night I did a show at Cucina
did? Okay.
Filipina, I think.
What
It's a
is
Filipino restaurant
Really?
that
Okay.
does this comedy show, and it was great.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I had
Only
some chicken
Filipinos
adobo.
or what? No.
I mean, it's run by Filipinos, but it's a general crowd
Yeah.
mixed from Occidental University,
Okay.
which is actually, a lot of people don't know, the university that Obama went to.
Really?
So for like the first 2 years before he transferred to Columbia, he went to Occidental.
Okay.
And so great show.
Yeah.
They're like, I got there early, and they're like, do you want to go early or later? I'm like, early. I got kids. I want to go home. And then I ended up staying I stayed for the whole show because it was so good. Every
How was the
comedian.
food?
The food was good.
Okay,
I've never
good.
had Filipino chicken adobo.
You never
like-
had Filipino food? Come on, I mean,
How? Where would I have it?
I've had so much because of Troy. Shout out to Troy. That's like in Vancouver.
I've never been to
like,
Troy's house.
Yeah, and then with 604 with the Filipino band I was working with, like,
Oh, really?
I probably ate the most Asian food, and when I was living in Vancouver was probably Filipino food.
What?
Yeah, because I was invited to the houses.
This is a hot moment. How could you? There's no Filipino restaurants. There's that one on
only
Main Street.
homemade food.
Oh, homemade. Okay.
Yeah, it was always homemade. It was always like homemade, which is a better experience for sure. Like, I mean, I ate a lot of sushi too in Vancouver. BC salmon, the best.
I'm surprised about that. But yeah, it was good. Like, they had these little quail eggs with like stewed chicken.
Yeah, it's cool. And,
Lots of bones,
and you
but-
eat with the spoon normally.
Yeah. Oh, is that normal?
Yeah, that's normal. That's the way to do it. Like that.
They
that's
just
the
gave me one
traditional
big
way.
spoon.
Yeah, one big spoon. That's it. I was like also a little bit like, how was it? Because I thought it's not a chopstick culture at all in Philippines. I think it has to do something with the Spanish colony and all. So like there's not.
They
it's
took
not
away the sticks and gave him
I
a
guess,
spoon?
yeah, there's like, we can't work with this. And like, here's a spoon.
But how about a fork with this? No, it's just one spoon.
Yeah, just one spoon. Yeah.
This is much worse. Give me the sticks. And the spoon is too big.
I know, yeah.
It's a large spoon.
It's a large spoon, yeah. It's not because a small spoon would take too long, to like a teaspoon. That's why it's a big spoon.
It was a lot of bones.
Yeah, you just got to chop it up with everything with the spoon.
But see, in that action, you use two hands.
Yeah,
See,
but
it's
you
like
hold
you're-
one thing and you just sort of
It's
carve
like they're
it out.
trying. You're just like. It was hard.
Yeah, it's hard for sure. Yeah, but that's normal.
But I was too lazy to ask for.
I'm
a
sure they
knife.
have some, but it's not.
That's like asking for a fork at a chopstick place.
Exactly. You go eat pho and then you're asking for like a fork.
Oh my god.
It's not a good look.
But the show was great. Shout out to Andrew Rolfo for having me. Rob Hayes was the host. So funny. Biniam Bazuna, who's one of the writers on Dave, he was so funny. It's another comic. Opie was great. It was just like one after the other, like great comics.
But this was not your show. This was not the Comedy Bunker.
No.
You were
This is
booked
just a
as
show
an-
that I
okay,
was performing on.
okay,
But I was
yeah.
like, yeah, this is last night, and it was so good.
When is the Comedy Bunker coming up? The next one?
July 5th.
July. Okay, so I won't. I'm coming back already July 10th.
Okay.
Not too
For how
bad,
long?
yeah. For another week. Yeah.
Oh, you should stay here.
We're actually playing in Vancouver at the
Okay.
P&E Forum.
No way.
Yeah, it's
Hell
a
yeah.
huge thing.
Hometown.
Hometown, yeah. That's July 8th or something. I have to look.
That's a
at the
big deal.
schedule. Yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah. That's a big show with Bob Moses, also homegrown Canadian talent, but they're big worldwide. So that's a few of the upcoming shows. And this Saturday at the Avalon, which is also a step up from the sound because it's a bigger venue, it's a nice theater and stuff. So we'll see how that goes.
Love it.
And then here's a little bit of a New York story. So I also squeezed in the Tribeca Film Festival. And
That's, what's his name's festival?
Robert De Niro's.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't know that too, but he started him and his team, I guess, a while ago now. I guess, whatever, 20, 30 years. Must be this one.
And some friends of mine run the ticketing for that.
Okay, so there you go. So I had a big moment with my homie Misha. So shout out to Misha Maya. So here's a little bit of a Misha story because I feel like it sort of embodies a little bit of the American dream story in a way. Like, so Misha is a guy that I've known from my hometown, Stuttgart. So he was just working at the Apple store there, and he was always interested in editing and filming and stuff. So we met, we were hanging out. We're talking like 15 years ago or something now. So then I did my thing in music. I moved to Berlin. I was having like a production company and an office I shared with Marcus Walter, the film director.
Yeah.
And then Misha was already in a small little advertising company, editing movies, editing films and stuff. But then basically, to cut it short, like I was the intro and the plug, so to say, to got him into the advertising world on a higher level through Marcus Walter. Because he basically then started doing small little things for Marcus, like editing his show reels. And then Marcus, he got better and better too, to be fair. Like Misha's a great editor. Then he basically, Marcus is like, hey, you're actually getting better. I'm going to make some phone calls and get you some jobs, some good jobs, some advertising. So he moved to Berlin. Then Marcus, all of a sudden he was the main editor for Marcus. If you're a main editor for like a top advertising director who works globally, of course you're going to meet more and more people. So he edited a lot of Marcus movie, but he also branched out got his own clients, his own jobs, met other directors. He's a hustler too. He's worked his way up. Then he made the big move. The Marcus was more in LA, and I was back then, remember 10 years ago, I was hanging out in LA too. But then he made the move, was like, I'm going to go to New York. Because I always dreamt about, he's like a hip hop dude also.
Yeah.
Like I want to live in New
him?
York. I think you met him one or two times, like, because he lives here in LA.
In Venice?
In Marina Del Rey.
Yeah, I met him.
Yeah, you met him.
Yeah.
You've been to the
Wait, so
place.
he's not in LA anymore?
Yeah, he is. He's.
You're telling like the backstory.
The backstory.
Okay,
This
got
is
it.
like his making of story, which I think has a few lessons in there. And so basically, next levels, like he moved up the ladder in New York, and then there's only a few editing houses in the advertising work, and it's a little bit different. You have editing houses for the advertising work, and you have editing houses for the film business, right? So, but he was more in the editing for the advertising because that's pretty lucrative, and you have constant clients. Like you do a job for 2-3 weeks, and it's the next spot, right? So then he moved to LA because it's like he has some film dreams in a way, but this is only like 4, 5, 6 years ago. Then got into the scene here. Worked up like in a lot of editing houses. Then he started to do he transitioned to a little bit of directing. He bought his own cameras. Like he was always a photographer, and he got into the mix in LA. Then he did maybe 4 years ago. He did his first little short movie.
Directing,
or
director of photography.
No, not a camera guy, not a DOP. Like he was like the director, because he always that's the next logical step as an editor. A lot of directors started being editors because it's like being music producers, and you're a mixer first, and then all of a sudden you realize, okay, I want to produce some beats too.
Yeah, editing is the last stage of directing.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's very crucial. It's like mixing a record is the last.
It's more
stage.
Crucial.
Yeah,
because it's not together.
Exactly.
A record, you have a rough mix. You know what you have. You don't know what you have until you've edited it.
Yeah, exactly. And then
that's kind of insane.
Yeah, if you think about it, I mean, of course, some directors, if they shoot a scene, they're gonna, this was a good mark that scene. So they sort of know which ones to take. So it's not like a big chaos in the end.
I was watching the Reservoir Dogs DVD and had some commentary with the director of photography, and he was saying they're running film. Yeah. So he's like, I'm operating the camera. He's like, I'm really the one who knows what we have, and luckily what we had was good. Because the director is standing next to the cameraman, just watching real life.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
and he's in the movie. That's trust.
That's trust. That's why the team is always the crucial team. Is always the director, then the DOP, the camera guy, and the editor. Yeah. Sometimes the director is an editor, like quite a lot of times, or he knows how to edit at least, so he gets the best editors. But this is the triad sort of that you need to shoot a good movie,
right?
On the production side, I guess sound like it's crucial. You mean like scoring and music after?
No, like capturing. Well,
yeah, but that's sort of part of like being a good camera guy. You need some engineer, but that's
it's not part of the three.
It's not creative.
But if you don't have a good sound, you don't have a movie.
Of course, but you can dub it like it's not creative. Like once you don't have that shot, you don't have that shot.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's done. That's it. Anyway, so Misha did his first little short movie, actually starring one of Tony Braxton's sons, which is crazy because Tony Braxton is together with Baby from Cash Money. I don't know if they're still together. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And we saw at the premiere Baby and Tony and the whole gangster squad with Tony Braxton pulled up to the editing house where Misha premiered his movie. Like this is 2 or 3 before Corona.
Whoa!
I didn't tell you of this story. I was like, whoa, look at this huge truck, like a armor bullet, like a bulletproof sort of huge truck pulled up in it. And it's like, yeah, that's baby. And he was just sat there with Tony Braxton watching the movie of that Misha, my man, did before starring one of Tony Braxton's kids.
Oh my
Anyways,
God.
this was when he first started, like the movie was good, but then he just getting started, right? And then he, like I would say the last year, he dedicated his life to doing his next short movie. So the short movies, like for people who don't know this, like
I need to hang out with Misha.
yeah. So Misha basically, like you do short movies, it's like a calling card. It's almost like a business card. So to then have people like, okay, this guy has a vision. He knows how to tell a story.
Right.
It's like your demo song for people then to trust you, ideally, to give you a budget or like
To do
talk
something
about it,
bigger.
like a long 90-minute movie. You know, like a real movie.
Yeah.
And because you can't really make money with short movies.
Or any movies.
Yeah, I know you can still make money with movies, but I mean with short movies even tougher because there's a little bit of a market to it, like the film festivals. But as a director, it's an invest basically.
Yeah, because there used to be home video market, and now there's nothing.
And I think there's some platform for short movies. I forgot the name now, where people actually pay to watch cool short movie. But I guess it's a small scene. It's more like a B2B thing, right? So,
It's like maybe you'll recoup your investment.
yeah.
maybe.
So basically, it's all about like really putting your money where your mouth is. And basically, he invested his money. Had found a production company. So I don't know exact the numbers, but he went all in basically to do this short movie, which is called In the Shadow of Palms. I'm plugging it right now because he did it, and I can tell you a little bit about the story. I think at some point you can probably see it publicly somewhere on YouTube or whatever. But he handed it in to a couple short film festivals, like last minute. I was there when he edited the sound, and it's about like it's three small stories about LA, but more in the shadow of palms, meaning about the subculture of LA. Mm-hmm. He's sort of Misha, this white German dude, is really in the trenches and knows the people. Like we're talking more in South Central LA, what's in the real dangers in the hood, basically. And he knows the key people there. He knows gang members. He knows kingpins. Like he worked himself in there because he gave a lot to them. Like, and he shot their weddings and as a photographer. Like he really worked because he was fascinated by this culture and hip hop and everything. And he gained so much trust that he really knows the real people in there. That's why he was starting to be allowed to portray them, take pictures, videos, and some of these people are in the documentary or in the short movie. You know, like characters where you feel like, how the hell did you get this on camera? Type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
what's the short movie about?
It's basically about LA.
Okay.
It's in the shadow of palms, like palms meaning like LA.
Palms?
Like
not palm trees, not the
palm trees. Yeah.
Okay, well, palm trees.
Palm
okay,
trees,
so
yeah,
not
shadow.
Palms area of LA.
No, palm trees.
Oh, in the shadow of palms. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, and it's about people that sort of make it from the streets or like leave a life behind. It's very hopeful, but it's also very dark. It just shows different sides of LA that you haven't seen, and he captured it. He captured it beautifully, and it just the vibe he directed. Like it's art basically. It's like a poetry in motion. And when I first saw it, I was shocked. Like I was like mind blown. Like I was like,
when did you see it?
Like he played it to me. I was just hanging out with him the last few months, like last year, this March, and everything. And we were talking about it. And friends of ours did the music and stuff. So I gave him some feedback and stuff. So, anyways, he put it in the film festival. I think Cannes Tribeca at last minute, like on the last day, he sent it in. We're talking a few days later, the boss, like the right hand from Robert De Niro, like who runs the festival, whatever, reaches out. Oh my God, this is a fantastic movie. We want to have you and premiere it. And this is like basically they only pick 50 short movies or something out of 8,000 that get sent in. So that's how good it is already.
And they watched all of them?
Yeah, that's crazy. And he was number 7,800 that he sent in. So they watch all of these. I mean, I'm sure it's like music. They watch 10 seconds. If it doesn't hook them, they move on to the next one. But his movie is so good that it's gonna open. I'm predicting it right now. It's gonna open so many doors for him. It already did. And then he was invited to the Tribeca. And that's why it happened to be the same day I was still in New York. So I was there when we walked over the red carpet at Tribeca Film Festival. I didn't meet Robert De Niro, but I mean, it was still a big thing. I mean, it's also a film festival for like full movies, like 90-minute, like full-length movies. But it's also they have a short movie, it's basically a side. But also, I think also 10,000 long movies get sent in. So I'm wondering, people are still giving their all and investing their all to create movies, like 90-minute movies, which probably cost anywhere between 10 grand to $1 million or something, or 10 million, whatever, even if it's just for a film festival.
I mean, I wonder what Misha's budget was.
I know, but I don't want to disclose it now. But it's substantial for a short movie. It's and
because there's costs. You know,
costs,
people say you can shoot a movie on your iPhone, but you kind of can't. You
can't. If you want it to look like his movie looks like, you need a proper camera guy. You need to have the good cameras. You need light. You can
shoot an idea on your iPhone.
Exactly,
but not.
But not something like which competes against 10,000 other short movies. You know?
Right. That's You're not going to get into the Tribeca Film Festival.
Exactly. Yeah. Unless you're super creative. I mean, I'm sure I think the beauty of our times nowadays is like the more you can beat technology and all that fancy stuff, and it looks great. Whatever, if you like, you can have the fattest beat, whatever. But if someone comes up with the greatest song, just a cappella, he will still beat the guy with the fat, because if a song connects and you get goosebumps, it connects. You know?
I think it's like an aesthetic thing. If you're chasing an aesthetic that's high end, that's cost money. But you can be as creative as you want if you're not concerned about that.
Exactly.
If you're making something different that you're like, I'm going to make this amazing thing that's not also at the same time trying to have an aesthetic of a feature film that we see in theaters, because that's where the money goes.
That's where the money goes.
There's a look. There's a look that costs money.
And also, like in music, I feel like, fortunately, but also unfortunately, I guess, you can do everything alone. Like anyone can, on his iPhone nowadays or iPad, can record a hit song technically, and then blow up internationally. You can't really do this with a movie. Like you need people, you need a story, you need, like, it's hard to do a movie alone unless it's a Blair Witch Project or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, even Morgan J, like we were hanging out, he did the show at the Elysian, and we're talking, and like his special is so good. He shot it himself at the Village Recorders, which is like a great LA
great
recording studio. And still, like, you know, and I think this is only just a temporary thing, but it's at 50,000 views. And, you know, we were talking, and I was like, don't worry, man, it's going to get higher. Like, it'll get there. But, like, it's hard to, like, cut through the noise of all this great video content.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, the numbers on social media, that people that like you for a quick thing or have a 10-second laugh is different than people that going to go to your show, or different than people...
Or press play
on YouTube and watch like an hour-long special or something, or listen to an album for that matter. You know, so it goes back to the superfans theory. You need to funnel all these people through, and then it's all about, in the end, the superfans that gonna spread the word.
And also, like, you got to give people options to consume if you're trying to exist in that space. Like, that space is a segmented, media needs to be digestible in all different sizes if you want to dominate that. If you want to be someone who's like, I guess my dream, off social media, like esoteric, only receives paper letters, like, maybe you got to do something different. But if you're trying to compete in social media, you got to play the game. Yeah,
so back to the Misha story to finalize it, like, it was such a proud moment for
I'm proud
me.
of him, and I don't even know him.
Yeah, you met him, and then some of his friends were there, like people from LA also flew in. Then his mother flew in from Germany for the premiere. And then it was shown, the movie, and they also combined like 3-4 other short movies, so people don't watch it for 10-15 minutes and leave the theater. So like it's like a package. People buy a ticket for like 1.5 hours of short movie. And then you also get on stage, talk about the movies. The other 4 ones that we watched with this one were so shit. Like, it's amazingly shit. So I feel like he has a good chance of winning.
Oh, wow.
Because it's like, his was so outstanding from my point of view. But I'm biased, obviously. But still, you know, like, the other were just not good. And they still made it into finals. But you can tell this quality level was so much higher.
Well, Germans have Germans and cameras, right? Isn't it like a thing? Like, a lot of the cinematographers are German or Austrian.
Like global, and also a lot of the lens cameras, Zeiss, like all the Leica, all these things are German. You know, like, it's German engineering. You know, still in essence, I guess. But anyway, so that was so cool to see the premiere and then hang out with him, and then I think it's there's big things coming up for him, because this is just the entry for him, like he's developing a few feature movies on the side, of course, and that's the thing. Like you need to be ready then. So he knows like this is gonna open some doors, but then the first question will be like, okay, do you have a feature idea? You have something you're developing. And that's why it's so important that you need to be a writer too, or you need to get the writing team around you as a director. If you're just a good director and you're just waiting for the perfect script to show up, forget it. It's like being a music producer and not being able to write a song. Like you have to wait for some good songs to show up. It's
more powerful. Like there's certain combos that are very powerful, like writer, director, like music producer and artist. That's that wasn't always the case.
I know.
But that now it's like you can produce your own stuff and you're the artist. It's like, whoa, we're really like blazing forward.
That's why the DJ culture blew up, because the DJs were the artist and the producer. Basically, and they just need sometimes a little bit co-writer, like a top line vocal.
They need like a co-artist sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes. Yeah. But in essence, they're like you combine a few of these skills, like your chances are just way higher to cut through the noise.
Yeah. Like I think Travis Scott is a producer artist. Kanye was a producer artist.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like you can kind of like make your own destiny.
Yeah, or like Bruno Mars for that matter.
Bruno Mars,
with Phil
he had like that crew of
what? Yeah, Smethingtons or whatever.
Smegingtons,
something like that. Phil Lawrence. Dope writer. And so I think that was a really cool New York moment for me, like to see Misha. And it also shows you like persistence. I mean, it took him 10 years now to get to, from us more longer than 10 years to be fair.
Comedians,
from being
writer,
exactly,
performers,
and just for him to go through all these stages, and the journey hasn't stopped yet. But it's just good to see someone like through persistence, and he had some ups and downs like all of us do. But it's like it's starting to happen now on a bigger level.
Pressing.
Kept pressing, and he is self-motivated, and he invested is the best way you can do. Like invest your own money and everything that he saved up for into yourself.
Right.
And that's what he did.
If you're not going to invest in yourself, who is?
Hey, who is? Yes, then no one else. And now I feel like there's going to be people that are going to invest in him. Yeah, they already are.
And that must have been a lot lower than even when he started, like what it cost. Like if you had to buy all this stuff 20 years ago, I'm sure it's way more.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to buy some stuff. You can just rent, obviously, a camera. You need it's the most costs are the people and the post-production, the editing, the color grading, and then the organizing music, mixing the music. And this is already a lot of friends and help, but still you have the fixed cost, and you need to shoot it. You need permits, you need light, you need... And if you shoot it,
you need lunch for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. You need lunch for everyone, and so like that's the cost really, the production cost. That's the results is gonna come out this Saturday. I feel like then they're gonna announce the winners of the Tribeca Festival. So I'm praying, I'm wishing for him to. I mean, it would be the best, of course, if he actually won.
Oh my God!
Because then it's like that's something.
So it's already premiered at Tribeca.
Yeah,
it's over.
Yeah, but now
they have to decide.
They have to decide. I don't know.
Is he just sitting at home?
No, he's sitting in New York because with some of the crew. Because if he wins, he wants to be there.
So did you watch it in New York?
Yeah, I watched it in New York in Tribeca at the Tribeca.
It's a lot of information.
I know this was all like.
So this is like 2 days ago.
Yeah, basically.
But you had also seen it a long time ago.
Yeah, I've seen the 90% version in LA, hanging out with him, but I've seen the final, which they updated up until the end, in New York in a theater. That's also different to watch it on a laptop than to watch it in an actual movie theater. Yeah, like with people in the dark with a fat sound. In Tribeca in New York. That was pretty good. And I just happened to be there. So much stuff happened in that 1 week of New York. We just talked about it. New York still has obviously magic, and there's still things going on. I've met so many good people, inspiring people. We had music festivals. I went to a music festival. We played ourselves. There was a Tribeca Film Festival. Come on, man. A lot happened in that 1 week.
New York.
It's still New York.
You still get so much more done in a week than a whole year.
I know. I feel like I experienced so much in that 1 week in New York. Where
you live more in 1 week in New York than a year in LA.
Like a couple months in Berlin.
Time flies by here, and you're and like it's very similar every day.
Yeah, that's also because of the weather, obviously. But so that was.
Is it just because everything's a challenge in New York?
I guess, yeah.
So are we actually not more productive in New York? It's just like, oh, there's always another problem.
No, and then with the air being a problem, there's always this. You're constantly uncomfortable, and you have to deal with it. Like
The city's constantly trying to say, we don't want you.
Exactly, leave.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's like you have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable in New York.
But
by default.
is it still like a place that would be home base or visit?
No, for me it's a visit thing.
Yeah,
for me it's a visiting to hang out there, do some business, meet some people, get inspired. But I think like if I was 20 years younger, I would probably but even then, like I think it's better. Like it's almost like just to ride the trains and stuff. The noise level, like it's just noise is also pollution for your ears. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's just stresses you. Like my stress level, cortisol, I'm sure like went through the roof in New York. So I'm sort of like, thank God I'm here now. The air
My
is
stress
better.
level is lower in New York because the barrage of things distracts you from thinking about stress.
I guess, yeah.
Because here you have a lot of time to think about the things to be stressed about.
Yeah, okay, that's one way to look at it.
There you don't have enough time.
I know, you're
going to get hit by the train, you're going to miss your train, you're going to die, someone's going to stab you.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, and then... I
no
thought,
random violence?
No.
That's good.
No, nothing bad happened, thank God.
Like if you didn't know there was a pandemic, would it feel any different? Or did it feel post-pandemic-y?
No, it felt... I don't know. Like I was in New York like half a year ago, so I guess this was just special because it was big shows. Misha was there with the Tribeca, then the festivals. Then I happened to hang out with this manager, with Björn, which was pretty inspiring. And see, here's a theory that he said, like, for him, he said, like, how do you know if you think about this? He said the American football NFL game is basically symbolizes the American dream.
Okay.
Basically, so what he meant by that is like, I have no idea about the game really, but from what I understand, it's like you need to try to cut through that wall, right? And there's like you need to gain land, and then you get the ball, and you either make it through the first wall, and if not, you get reset to country. And then sometimes, if you're good and sneaky, you can sort of do like a touchdown and run through the whole field. But after you hit the next 10 yards or whatever, there's another wall. So it's basically, you always got to fight through the next challenge and wall.
It's never over.
It's never over. And that's the American dream. Also, it symbolizes a little bit of there's a reason why American football is big in America. And it is, I feel like, for me, it was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. I don't know what do you think about it, you know?
But isn't that like every country?
I guess, but that game it's an American game, and that game is nowhere else. No one else plays that game.
But take football out of it. Isn't the wall and the thing just life?
That's life, but there's
why does it symbolize life?
But there's no
more?
sport. There's no national sports league game and big. Like it's funny how the American dream is so part of the culture, I guess, that there's even a game that represents that dream. And the game is called American football, NFL. That's his theory. Yeah.
What if it's actually baseball? Because baseball is the national sport of America. And then you're kind of like you're waiting for like one special player to hit the miracle shot to change your life.
And you still have to touch the bases and get
and you can still hit it almost and still be out.
But see, that's the thing. So maybe those two games are representing America because also those games are not big in Europe or anywhere else on the planet. They're only big in the States. No one goes. There's no baseball in
it's just
Germany.
Soccer.
Yeah, it's just soccer. Fußball, for that matter. So that's what I mean. Like the two biggest American.
Which is what about being good looking and privileged?
Again. Yeah,
that's the European way.
That's the European way. No, I mean, Fußball is still like football. Soccer is still like a thing. Like you can start from the bottom, really, being a street kid in Brazil and make it all the way to being a billionaire. In essence, you know. So that's still
maybe
a
all
big
sports
dream.
are a metaphor for life.
I guess, but then the American thing with the bases and the walls and really cutting through, like it's kind of funny how that still is here. I don't know. That's just a theory.
I think George Carlin had like a bit, like a comedian bit about baseball and football or something. I'll
and then here we actually didn't start with the German English. We were all confused.
Oh yeah,
we got to run the German English really quick.
Let's do it.
So there's a saying when it's basically when things really matter and count, and it's all or nothing moments. People say in Germany, "Jetzt geht es die Wurst," in German, and that would literally translate, now it goes about the sausage. Now it's all about the sausage.
I have so many questions.
Exactly. So I think it boils down to, because sausage is basically, it's a German thing. Obviously, a lot of Germans it stands for German, but also it's maybe like you win a prize, you win the sausage. I think like back then in the medieval, maybe if you won something on the market, you would actually win a sausage. You know, like.
But sausage is also a metaphor for cramming a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I guess into something. And also like dogs chase sausages in a way, maybe. So like, and maybe there was a sports game, people running.
Dogs chase sausages?
Yeah, I think isn't there like a thing where like dogs run around and then there's a sausage that sort of they
like
have
in
to chase.
cartoons?
Yeah, like in cartoons and stuff, you know. So I think it has to do something with like, it's a prize. That's why it's Jetzt geht's die Wurst. Say it. Jetzt geht's die Wurst.
Die Wurst. It sounds like let's get divorced.
It could be too. No, but it's all about now it goes about the sausage. Sounds loose. Now it's all about the sausage.
Oh my God.
So
all right, well that's a good one, because it's like, but like, when do you say that? Like, when
you say it all the time, actually.
Like we're gonna go for lunch. Now it's about the sausage.
No, it's more like, okay, it's the last minute in the game. There's a penalty shot. Then it's like,
everything's on the line.
Yeah, no, everything's on the line. It's all or nothing. It's like, jetzt geht's die Wurst. You know, yeah. It's like,
because Wurst is sausage?
Yeah, Wurst is sausage.
Wurst,
yeah. That's why it's Wurstküche here in Venice Beach.
And Currywurst.
Currywurst, yeah. Yeah, Wurst is sausage.
Yeah.
Ach so, yeah, super. Cool.
Well, now it's all about the sausage, because we got to get some lunch.
Yes.
It's good to have you back in person.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be back.
We got to plug any shows. Come to Comedy Bunker on July 5th.
Yeah, I think
8:30. It's a Wednesday show. We don't normally get Wednesdays, but it's a Wednesday.
Just go check out at Joplyn Berlin, and also obviously at Chitan Berlin and at Latif Tayour, just to see what we're up to, and also at Techno Hollywood.
And I think we're gonna start talking about our rest fat goals. I'm gonna
still there.
It's still there. We're gonna have a little. We want kilos or pounds?
I don't know pounds, so kilos.
We'll do kilos, maybe a translation into pounds. A lot of numbers are going to fly around the screen. And subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Cool.
Cheers.
Take care. Cheers.
Techno.